All right, Happy New Year. I've got another cool study to tell you guys about, and this one is cool because it involves the immune response, and we know grounding has a huge impact on that. So this study was all about how grounding affected the body in response to being given vaccines. So, just to be clear, this in no way represents my opinion on vaccines. I am simply stating what happens to a grounded body when it's given vaccines. So nothing more, nothing less. All right, so this was a double-blind study done in Poland on 32 men, and they were given typhoid vaccine and tetanus toxoid. So what were they measuring in these individuals that were grounded and given vaccines? So they did blood serum tests on iron, transferrin, ferritin, albumin, total protein, and globulins alpha 1, alpha 2, beta, and gamma. So we can talk about these a little bit after I tell you the results, what happened in this study. So what happened to the individuals that were grounded and given vaccines? They found that concentrations of total protein, iron, albumin, it's 3, went down, and concentrations of transferrin, ferritin, globulins alpha 1, alpha 2, beta, and gamma went up. So when the grounded group's connection was cut, because there were 2 groups in the study, there was a control group and the grounded group. So when the grounded group's connection was cut and they were insulated, they found that concentrations of ferritin and globulin alpha 1 went down, and concentrations of total protein, iron, globulins alpha 2, beta, and gamma went up. All right, so what are they measuring for here exactly, and why are they measuring it? So let's start with iron. So a lack of iron can contribute to the downregulation of your T-cell mediated antibody response, which can hinder your immune response. So iron homeostasis influences your whole immune system. That includes your adaptive and your innate responses. And it's pretty common for iron homeostasis to be altered in conditions like autoimmune disease, cancer, infection, and ferritin is just a storage protein for iron. So about a quarter of the iron in your body is going to be stored as ferritin. So if you do a ferritin test and it shows that your blood ferritin is higher than normal, it could mean that you have a condition that caused your body to store too much iron. Could also point to conditions like liver disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and other inflammatory conditions like hyperthyroidism. If your blood ferritin levels are lower than normal, it could mean that your body's iron stores are low. You have an iron deficiency or you're anemic. So transferrin is another protein that binds to iron. It's the main carrier of iron in your blood. It helps it get to where it needs to go, and when your body makes enough of it, you can utilize the iron that you get from your diet. It's also a type of beta globulin, which we'll get to. But levels of transferrin will go up when you have an iron deficiency, so when your body's iron stores are low, and vice versa. So it's also made in the liver, so its levels can be associated with liver health and any inflammation you have going on there. It's also known as a negative acute phase protein, which means that when there's inflammation, your liver is going to increase the production of inflammatory proteins like C-reactive protein, ferritin. So levels of those will go up, and production of proteins like transferrin will go down. Okay, so next up is total protein, which makes up the last few measurements here. So a total protein blood serum test is going to measure the amount of 2 classes of proteins in your blood, which are albumin and globulins. Proteins are an important part of all cells and tissues. And albumin is the main protein in your blood. So one of the things it does is it helps keep fluid from leaking out of your blood vessels into the surrounding tissues, which you can call it as fluid buildup in the lungs or the abdomen. It also carries things like vitamins and hormones and enzymes. So if your albumin levels are low, it could point to things like liver or kidney disease, and if it's high, it could mean that you're dehydrated. The different globulins, alpha, beta, and gamma, are divided up by electrophoresis, which is basically separating molecules by size and electrical charge under an electric field. So these make up about 40% of the proteins in your blood. Alpha and gamma globulins tend to increase when there's inflammation in the body. But the big difference here is that alpha and beta globulins, made in the liver, act as enzymes and transport proteins in your blood. But gamma globulins are made by your lymphocytes, plasma cells, and act as antibodies in your body's natural and acquired immune response. Okay, so let's go back to the results. What happened to the individuals that were grounded given these vaccines? Transferrin, ferritin, globulins alpha 1, alpha 2, beta, and gamma all went up. So it's clearly affecting the immune response, but the increase in gamma globulins play a crucial role in our immune system, and they're commonly referred to as immunoglobulins, or most commonly antibodies. So these going up in response to the vaccines that they were given could mean that grounding was enhancing the strength of their immune system, which I believe, and this is actually one of the minor studies that confirms that, but it's more data nonetheless. The big mechanisms are by reducing oxidative stress and by charging this cool battery in your body that's made up of water and protein. Alright, so that's all I've got for this video. You guys at this point, if you're not convinced that you need to be grounding, then I don't know what else to do or say. I've made so many of these videos and posts that it'd be fucking preposterous if you didn't. So please go ground. I love you. Until next time, bye.